Hey everybody, Bonez here, Bonez Garage, just bringing you update what's going on at the garage. So 1956 Chevy Bel Air 4-door. I was having a problem with her. We would drive for a few miles and then come to a stop and it would start spitting, sputtering, and then stall. It didn't do it every single time, but it did do it enough times. And what I found was that the boosters, these are your boosters. This is your booster right here, and it goes right there. And these are your main barrels. These are what run the car. This is your idle circuit, your intermediate circuit or cruise circuit, and your WOT, which would be your wide open throttle circuit. These do everything here. This back here are your secondaries, which are your wide open throttle circuit. And that's basically all those do, is come in when you're into wide open throttle, or if you're going up a hill with a heavy load or something like that, they'll start to open up due to vacuum. So what was happening is when I would come to a stop, I'd run out real quick, open the hood, and you would see the fuel just dripping out of the booster right here, just dripping right out into the motor. And as it idled longer, it would drip more and more and more. We found this is your float bowl right here. That's your float. Your float sits right here on these, just right there, and it will open and close the needle, which is right there. The needle sits inside the seat right there, so it just goes right there, goes down, sits in the seat. It's got a little rubber tip. As the float comes up, it pushes the rubber tip of the needle into the seat and closes off the fuels to stop the bowls from filling up. Well, this one was not working at all. It was really bad. So I went ahead, pulled the top of the carburetor off, pulled the needles out, and found that the needles are old. They're starting to crack. They got a groove in them where they sit inside the seat down there. So it was allowing fuel to just drip in. And again, it didn't do it every time. It did it once in a while. When I took the top off, we had a lot of dirt inside the bowls of the carburetor. So I also noticed that inside these cavities where your air valve sits for your secondaries, that sit right there, there was a lot of old fuel in here. And the old fuel was all the way up to the top there. So we were getting a lot of leaks into it. And you can still see the fuel was sitting there. You could see how old the fuel was in there. So I said, let's just rebuild this carburetor. So I took all of the gaskets off of our secondary boosters, our primary boosters, the other primary right there, and also off of the squirter for the accelerator pump. And then this is your accelerator pump. And you can see it has the old style accelerator pump rubber in here, the seal. And this sits right here. There's a little spring that goes under it to make it come back up. But this sits right here, and when you do that initial push on the gas, it will push this down, squirt fuel into the main jets here, the main barrels, and it makes up for the lag of when the air starts flowing in, catching the venturi, and then sucking the fuel through the booster from your fuel bowl. As the fuel bowl empties, the float goes downward in the bowl, opens up the needle, and allows the fuel to flow into the bowl to fill it up. So that's your basic setup on how these work. We also have the bowl separators, which act like bulkheads, which keeps the fuel from coming all the way out of either side, whether it's on this side, which is your secondary intake for your secondaries, that's the fuel intake, and the needle, the metering jet sits right there in that, and that meters how much fuel will be sucked into your secondary barrels. So just a quick basic setup on how a Edelbrock carburetor works. There's the top of the carburetor, and again, these are your seats, those are your needles, this is your float, that's the hinge pin for the float, that is your primary jet, which would be the front barrels or venturis. Then you have all your gaskets for your accelerator, your booster, your secondary boosters, your separator, your bulkhead, and then your secondary metering rod, metering jet. So there you go, guys. Quick lesson on a Edelbrock carburetor. There's our rebuild kit. We're gonna put it into the sonic cleaner. It's got some really good chemicals in there. I can't tell you what it is because without a license, you really can't buy it. So there you go, guys. I will keep you up to date as we go. Have fun. Okay, bye.